Hello and welcome to another edition of the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. On this week's show,
Impact Emergence, Night 1 results and Night 2 preview.
NXT Takeover, what to expect, what are we looking forward to, what not.
SummerSlam. This Sunday, we'll run it down. All this and more.
Just prior to this, we were talking about some things, and Pete's trying to work them out, and we're thinking everything's going to work out for the best for you, man. Nothing to worry about.
Oh, that's fine. You just might hear my cats in the background.
Hey, live audience. Excellent.
Yeah.
See, that could be a next route for us, a live audience. You never know. We could make some money, get some ticket money.
Yeah, sell tickets to pets everywhere.
So, in the intro, we obviously spoke about a few things. Tomorrow, we have NXT Takeover XXX or 30, if you're not into your Roman numerals. Mark, give us a skinny. What's your preview, so to speak, for NXT 30?
So with NXT Takeover, I think right now a lot of the build has been Keith Lee carrying Cross, and how that's shaping up to be, along with Pat McAfee and his involvement with Adam Cole and what that's going to all look like. A little interesting that we have a football punter involved in an angle with wrestler. Hasn't been the first time WWE has done a wrestling football crossover. I guess you can go as far back as like Ernie Ladd, who was years and years and years ago a football player that ended up crossing over. And then we ended up having things like the Chicago Bears and William the Refrigerator Perry. And then we've come all the way down to years like today, where it's Pat McAfee, former NFL punter, I believe, for Indianapolis Colts, who got into a bit of a kerfuffle with Adam Cole, and that turned into something else. And I think that might be the marquee match. And then we also have the NXT Championship match. So some really interesting things to look forward to, especially with those particular ones.
Yeah, for sure. You've got the as you said, the marquee there of the Pat McAfee. I mean, the build to that has been quite good. At the beginning, it wasn't really accepted that well online, at least. Anyway, who's this Pat McAfee? He's just some kind of guy, ex-NFL player who just walks in and starts giving mouth to Adam Cole, and now all of a sudden, it's spun on its head, and everyone is like, "Whoa, Pat McAfee! He punted Adam Cole's head off. Where could he actually do it? Could he beat Adam Cole? Can he actually withstand bumps in the ring, whatever else?" I mean, who I did see someone say that he's been training. Who's Pat McAfee been training with? Oh man, I've forgotten who it was, but he's been training with a legend, and even the legend has turned around and said that he's done really, really well.
Like you said, with it getting kind of poo-pooed online. I mean, I get that. It's always kind of lame to see celebrities getting involved in the ring, but I think the last couple times there's been celebrity engagement with WWE, like Stephen Amell's match that won SummerSlam. I was about to say Gronkowski, but that wasn't all that great. It's been at least passable. And I'm wondering why they chose Adam Cole for this, because I think you have other members of the NXT roster that could have an interesting match without sacrificing some of their credibility. I have in my notes here, I'm still not entirely sold on it. Seems kind of like a waste of Adam Cole to me.
Unless they've got big plans for Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
After this match, then it will be, as you said, a waste of time for Adam Cole. But because Adam Cole, the longest reigning NXT champion, a major star, I can't see them not doing something with Pat McAfee going forward.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of makes sense given the global situation with the pandemic. But maybe this ends up with a little more mainstream attention from NXT, and that's not something I'm going to be too upset about.
Also, you like maybe a tie-in with the USA Network or Fox, or so where I believe they're on Fox in the US, but at the same time, if the idea of that actually is a really good point, because you bring in an NFL player or former NFL player, they've got their big NFL crew that's quite popular on Fox. Maybe there you have that kind of marketing crossover between the two.
Definitely a possibility there. As you said, they need to boost. I mean WWE pronouns. They need to boost their ratings. They need to claw back some viewers, and this and the Thunderdome. It's a possibility. It really could be.
How do we feel about the ladder match?
Okay. Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room?
Go for it.
Should Velveteen Dream be on TV?
With those predatory behavior allegations against him, I'd be surprised if he even has a job next week. I'll say it's funny. It's not. It's just a phrase. But before he was taken off, apparently due to a car accident that he had, the allegations came out, and there was seriously strong allegations, and an in-depth investigation took place that found nothing, absolutely nothing. Even though it was all plastered over Twitter, there were screenshots, there was conversations, there was voice notes. Apparently, he did nothing wrong, and he came back, and all of a sudden, not even all of a sudden, everyone has clamoured and said this is wrong. This is, show us the investigation, show us where you've cleared him. And even more allegations have come out, and people's voices have got even louder. And yet they've pushed him into this ladder match. And it's going to take away the focus of pretty much the entire event, in my opinion. Yeah, which is a shame, because there's a lot of good stuff going on in this event.
Yeah.
I think there's there's the women's championship that seems very seems kind of important, seems like a big deal considering how it hasn't been a good year for the NXT Women's Championship. We've got Keith Lee against Killer Cross. Seems like a marquee match that we've been waiting for. Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. It seems such a shame to see all of this be overshadowed by whether or not the Velveteen Dream is going to be involved, or if he's going to see any punishment for his indiscretions.
What makes me angry, to be completely honest, is that being over here in the UK, I am in the eye of the storm. This is where the speaking out kind of originated from. And when it came out about Travis Banks, about Ligero, and things like that, WWE instantly, within a day or two, cut ties. Bang. And the evidence against them was damning, but it wasn't as public as the amount of evidence there is against Velveteen Dream. And I don't know what to say. I really don't. Unless they come out and say, this is the investigation, this is what we found, these people are lying. Unless they come out and say that, everyone's going to damn Dream.
And it really makes you wonder how tone deaf Triple H is.
How much is that Triple H and how much is that from above?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So how detailed is this investigation that they went through? Like, there are screenshots that sure look like his abdomen. I mean, in images, how is it that you could easily cut ties in some instances, but do you feel that race might play a part as to why they're feeling that if they were to cut ties, that it's not it literally isn't black or white, and that they could face another set of circumstances? So if it's not speaking out, it might be racial.
I think that is kind of a simplification of matters.
Mm.
I can't see the WWE itself willing to die on that hill over a race issue. He was allegedly grooming children online. It doesn't matter. That trumps race, creed,
Mm-hmm.
color. It's wrong. It's sick. It's disgusting. And I hope not that's their way of thinking.
I mean, again, we're sitting here, three people looking at it from the outside in, not sure if they feel that one is more damning. When we can all think back to the Fabulous Moolah and how the Women's Royal Rumble was supposed to be the Fabulous Moolah's Royal Rumble. And then once everything came out about, I mean, there are those that still either support her or not, and the name was changed because they were afraid of that. They were acted swiftly on that. Do sponsors have to get involved? If money is to be lost, is that where the issue lies?
I think that's probably a better way to look at it than considering any kind of racial aspect to why he hasn't been released yet. And I think it's possibly because there's all kinds of there's all kinds of advertisers and people who are now going to be casting scrutiny on them that might change what's going on going forward. Maybe wasn't Ridge Holland supposed to be in this match originally?
Well, didn't he face Finn Balor and then?
No, he faced Johnny Gargano.
Johnny Gargano.
NXT
that's why.
Gone.
Okay.
And Johnny beat him to get himself into the match. So yeah, you've got Johnny Gargano. There is Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Cameron Grimes in this 5-way. I mean, that's some great talent there. All come from the Indies, obviously, apart from Dream, who has come through the system. But that could be another great NXT ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
Got anyone to win?
Won't be Johnny. It's, without sounding crass, the North American Championship's beneath him now.
Yeah, I'm really starting to wonder if Johnny Gargano is starting to go in circles on NXT.
Could he be under the hood? Could he be on Retribution? It could be anyone. They could just keep changing it up. Anyway, we're going off subject. You've got Bronson Reed, who I love. I've seen live over here at Riptide, and he blew me away. And I just want big things for him because he's a big dude. He's a thick boy. But I'm going to go with Damian Priest because he's looked amazing.
I'm also with you there.
So long.
Damian Priest has been looking good on NXT, and he had I think he was snatched from Ring of Honor perhaps a bit too soon. I'd like to have seen him at least capture the Ring of Honor championship for a little bit. But he needs some gold around him to really cement his status in NXT.
Well, our own John Call, actually, he picked Damian Priest too, much like you both. So I'm going to go a little off the grid. I liked him. I liked his time in Impact. I'm going to say Cameron Grimes. Just something, he's fun personality. He's a little out there. And maybe that little bit of distinction. But I don't think I think we win regardless, if it's Damian, if it's Cameron, if it's Bronson Reed, we all win.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Bloody new talent, shining a new spotlight on them. It's going to be good. And the women's championship, Io Shirai against Dakota Kai, bless me. That's, I mean, I've been a fan of Dakota ever since she turned up in NXT, and Io is just insanely talented. I've got big hopes for this match.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like the women's division in NXT getting back on course. Like I said, it seems like it hasn't been a great year for the NXT Women's Championship. It feels like Charlotte was kind of a distraction going into Mania, and I'd like to see Io Shirai. I'd like to see Io Shirai retain, just to have someone in the past while who's had a lengthy title reign.
Most definitely, we do. I feel like that they need a lengthy Asuka type reign for that championship, and then have someone chase her for so long and take her mantle, and then possibly Io gets called up if that's the way that's going to be. What about you, Mark?
I'm with you both. It's always been the one title that it feels like who's ever held it, they have just absolutely been dominant. I mean, whether it was Shayna Baszler, whether it was Asuka, maybe not so much Kairi Sane, but I think for the most part, when they've had these memorable reigns, it's always been exciting to watch these women just destroy everybody else. And much like you guys, yeah, I think having it mean that much, I can't take the title away from Io. She's as a heel, she's amazing to watch, compelled in what she's going to say or do next from the minute she turned heel to now. Yeah, it's not something I want to see taken away from her anytime soon.
Let's do the triple threat number one contendership tag match.
If I was booking a show, that would be the match I would open the show with. A triple threat tag. Breezango are entertaining as hell. You've got only Lorcan and Birch, who is, they do love a bit of strong style, and Legado del Fantasma, who impress me each and every week.
Yeah, a bunch of great teams. Breezango just recently returned to NXT. Cards on the table, I'm kind of hoping they win.
Yes.
I think their return to NXT gives them the opportunity to kind of rebuild themselves as not only as credible contenders first and foremost, but also credible contenders who have that kind of silly side to them, like Edge and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I've said for the last 2 years I've had an Edge and ENC vibe from them.
Truly, like they have kind of the same thing going on with the two pretty boys who are just kind of just into having fun together.
What about you, Mark? Who's your pick?
If Lorcan and Birch aren't put they to me are coming across like the team that's always so close and doesn't achieve, and always so close. They're perennial top contenders, the bridesmaid that's never the bride. So I hope that it's Lorcan and Birch on my side, but they seem to be putting a lot of steam behind Legado del Fantasma. Who I want, who I hope are two different things. Nothing against Breezango. I find that they're there maybe to make everybody else look better. But how else do you make everybody else look better? By contending in a major match, right? But yeah, I'm sentimental favorite. I'm going to go Lorcan and Birch.
We mentioned Legado del Fantasma being fantastic each and every time we see them. I think they could get a good heel win.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could at least keep the title chase going a little bit longer for Breezango and Lorcan and Birch. Just kind of give us a little bit more delayed gratification moving forward.
I mean,
I think we're all excited for three fantastic teams coming together for this match.
Yeah, I don't know if they're not shy from doing heel versus heel booking for a major title. So if it was Legado del Fantasma, it does put the whole idea, because they just had the Undisputed Era Imperium kind of like feud amongst them. So I can't see that being too far of a stretch, but maybe they don't want to dry up that well. But I can definitely see merits in Breezango too, as you guys have mentioned. So.
And then we've got obviously the marquee match, the main event, the NXT Championship. So it's Karrion Kross, not Killer, Karrion, before we get told off, against the champion Keith Lee. This is wet my appetite. This is my kind of match. This is going to be, hoping to be, a nasty, brutal, stiff match, which, in my opinion, all championship matches should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really should come across as more legitimate than some of the other matches. Again, we've got, like you said, two big guys going at it. Kross has had a really strong booking, and again, Keith Lee, limitless Keith Lee. We love ourselves some big guys who can move. Who do we got to win?
Mark.
So if I jump on, I'm gonna stick with the limitless one. I have a hard time having him work as hard as he did to get to where he has. He's had some bad booking, but the way in which he wins, I don't see it in being a way where it affects Kross and how he comes across looking. So whether it's DQ, whether it's count out, whether it's time limit draw, whatever you want to call, Kross still looks strong. Maybe even he winning by disqualification, which could very well be the case. So not losing it, who knows what this leads to. I think Kross and Keith Lee keep going on beyond this match. So Lee wins, but Cross doesn't look bad in the process.
Yeah, I'm with Mark on this one. I think Lee's reign as NXT champion, I think, is kind of too important to end so soon after it started. And that was kind of my concern going in, was wondering if this was going to put a damper on Karrion Kross's momentum. But now that you have me considering a program moving forward between those two, and that's a very interesting prospect.
I mean, they could tap into Mia Yim and how that part was Scarlet. I mean, I know they did that a little bit with Johnny Gargano and Candice, but they could really play on a whole psychological side of things. They did that with Dijakovic, but who's to not say they can't? I'm sure Karrion is creative enough that they could, build that in some way. It's fun.
I'm going to jump in that boat with you two. I 100% agree. I can see, as you both said, a longer program with these two guys. Possibly, I'm not too sure if it's been announced yet, but if there's a takeover over Survivor Series weekend, there could be a switch there. There could be some matches over NXT between the two, and before this year is out, Karrion Kross will be champ. But yeah, big things. I'm hoping at the end of year NXT awards, this would win the feud of the year.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I'm glad we kind of glossed over Balor versus Thatcher, because I'm not prepared to drop one of my incendiary opinions on episode 3. So I'll just say down with Thatcher.
Ooh.
It's been thrown onto the card pretty quick. I'm not too sure why. We'll find out tomorrow night, I suppose. But yeah, it's my little wingman. He absolutely adores Finn Balor. I've been watching Devitt for 8 years, and he is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. But if you're putting Balor against Timothy Thatcher is going to, bind him up like a pretzel and have his merry way with him.
Even the reinvigorated Balor we've seen recently.
Yeah, there could be a program out of this. It could be a mini 4-week, 5-week feud coming out of this. But I think Thatcher needs to win. I mean, Balor doesn't need to win. Thatcher needs to win. And whether or not he's going to team up with his buddy Walter down the line, I don't know. Possibly. He might even get called up and help his frenemy Matt Riddle up on the main roster. But Timothy Thatcher needs that win to legitimize who he is, that he can beat the big guys, the big names. Sorry.
That just about covers NXT Takeover 30.
There we go. That's your NXT Takeover preview. Obviously, by the time you hear this, NXT will have happened, and we either look like complete magicians or fools. I'm going to say I'm going to look like a fool just before my wife gets there first, basically. So with that in the rearview mirror, let's go to our pieces that have been published this week. Mark, we've had a couple of pieces this week that picked up some traction.
Yes, we have really outstanding pieces. We're fortunate with all of our writers here at Pro Wrestling Post, with their writing, with their knowledge, with their history, with their commitment to growing. And one of them is what will be, I believe, either a 5 or a 6 piece on the history of Bullet Club. And Miss George Madden has been looking at the different reigns of those that have been running Bullet Club and who've been in charge. So part 3 has been subtitled Goodbye, Good Night, Bang. Only one person in Bullet Club is synonymous with using those words, and that was the cleaner Kenny Omega. So this piece talks about Kenny's reign as Bullet Club leader, and interesting introspective from Bad Luck Fale, if you look throughout it, on his take on Kenny's leadership towards the end of the piece. What was everyone's opinions potentially about this piece, about Kenny's time?
This, when Kenny took over Bullet Club was about the time I started really paying attention to New Japan. And also when I started paying attention, being the Elite and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, or Doc Gallows as he was then, That was kind of it all kind of reminded me of those early 2016 days of really getting into the wider world of wrestling after I came back to it in 2014.
Unfortunately, I'm the opposite. It was when Kenny became leader that I didn't really pay. My interest in New Japan kind of tailed off a tad. I wasn't really that interested, to be fair. It was nothing against Kenny. It was nothing against Bullet Club. It was just I was watching so much wrestling from all around the world that I had to give and take. So I'm still subscribed to New Japan World. And since Georgia started this series, which was about a month ago, I think it was, I've kind of gone back in time to catch myself up and see what I missed. And reading this, you can see she's done a great job. She's done her research. She's done just a fantastic job.
Yeah, so she's got tons of quotes from lots of interviews and really thorough on where Kenny Omega was before joining Bullet Club.
Like the fact that there was just a hint of dissension with Bad Luck Fale's quote.
Yeah,
yeah, that whole angle was one that came together really, really, really well. Really good slow burn storytelling.
And when it happened, the complete excommunication of just, you could see the divide and just laying out of Paige and Cody and Kenny and the Bucks, and the divide was clear. And the fire, we'll probably get into that into the next piece, but to see how they were once all united, and I'm sure that this clearly had separated them and led into what we see now with AEW and where they are. But it really made sense, and it really does differentiate between the two.
At the end of the day, you can see that the close bonds that the Elite had obviously gave birth to AEW. So, all's well that ends well, so to speak. I mean, Bullet Club is still going from strength to strength right now, which obviously George will get to with part 4, I think, in 2 weeks.
Well, 4 is probably going to come out next week. She's been pretty steady with each week having each reign, whomever is there, being a focal point. So when this is all complete, and Georgia will join us and share her thoughts on putting this together, and we look forward to that.
Hey, we're getting our first guest. Look at that.
Yes.
That was the first piece?
Yeah, that was our first piece. Our following is an indie spotlight by a staff member who's been with us, I want to say, since January, maybe December. Am I in the same ballpark?
Yeah.
Clint is a photographer, Mr. Clint Dye, who's been photographing CEW in his hometown of Iowa and the surrounding areas. Clint's becoming a bit of a jack of all trades. He's written rivalry pieces for us. He's contributed a few on this days. But one of the things that he's done recently is an indie spotlight watch on someone that is part of a show that's taking place this weekend in Iowa. It is a Black Lives Matter show specific. And the focal point is the frontman, Josh C. I'm hoping I pronounced that right, Clint. When you listen to this, maybe you correct us on it. And the confidence, even in talking to Clint on the side about Josh C, is that he has such confidence. He's got the gift for gab, and he's going to be part of this Black Lives Matter show taking place this weekend. Tomorrow, actually. Well, when you hear this, it'll be yesterday because it's taking place on Saturday, the 22nd.
Yeah, Josh C seems like someone who's shaping up to be the total package. Mm-hmm. He's very talented in the ring, very talented on the mic, and he's still very young. He's got tons of room to grow, and that's very exciting. That'll be very exciting to see. I can see this guy showing up in maybe MLW, maybe do some stuff on AEW Dark. Career's truly just beginning.
What is interesting to note is that he's trained at the Black and Brave gym. And Black and Brave is owned by Tyler Black, Merrick Brave, and Tyler Black is Seth Rollins. So to see that he's been trained there, or that he trained there, is you can see that he's got a pretty noted background of those that are training him and that footing underneath him.
I didn't know of Jarcy until Clint started writing about him. And I've waited for the piece to be published. I've read the piece. Totally piqued my interest. I have gone online to try and find his, because obviously you've both said that he's very talkative. He's very competent on the mic, and I've gone out my way, tried to find some promos of his on YouTube, and yeah, I can definitely see the similarities with The Rock. The confidence, the swagger that he holds. It is definitely the cusp of something good there, I think. And also, Clint himself has written a Black Lives Matter preview, which is on the site right now. So obviously, get your butts over there, read that, read this. Just fantastic content, again, from our fantastic staff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's crack on. We spoke last week about Impact Emergence. And Tuesday gone, they held their first night of Impact Emergence, and it was a damn good show. Pete, what did you think?
I think that Emergence has been a very good preview of what Impact pay-per-view events are going to look like for the foreseeable future, at least. That X Division title match that opened the show, excellent choice for opening the show. Lots of high energy action. Rohit Raju pulling out the shock victory over Chris Bay and TJP.
Heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. I was like, no. I mean, he's a worthy champion, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, he's been there for how long now? 3-4 years.
At least 3 years, yeah.
And you know, I wonder what really was going through Chris Bay's mind when he was making his decision to make it a triple threat. Because I haven't seen a lot of Rohit Raju, to be honest. I've been keeping up with Impact again for just a little over 2 months now. I started just before Slammiversary. And in my time watching Impact again, Rohit Raju has kind of come across as not a very trustworthy character. Really starting to make Chris Bay look like Sting was in WCW. Just kind of to making alliances with no regard for how trustworthy his allies might be. But yeah, like you said, great for Rohit Raju. I think this is going to be either kind of a short run to just kind of give him the acknowledgement. It's either going to be a short run like that, or he's going to have one of those record-setting Honky Tonk Man runs where he's constantly scrambling away with the championship, and then whoever gets the X Division title after him is just going to look like $1 million.
Yeah, definitely. I prefer to go down that second route with the I'm going to eke a win by hook or by crook and hold it for 400 days and then lose it, and then, as you said, that the next person's just made as soon as that happens, if that happens.
So, Pete, do you see other people aligning themselves with Rohit just so it secures Rohit, kind of like he has a set of bodyguards that are there to help him, or whomever, and that he's that cowardly champion, but there's going to be people that are there to help him eke out that win? Potentially.
I don't know what happened to the Desi Hit Squad, if they're still around. But even if that's the thing that he starts to build later, like The Miz did with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, that's
Mr. Raj,
yeah, that's an option. But I think for right now, it's going to be Rohit Raju, like you said, winning by hook or by crook, getting the odd roll up with the tights, or getting the odd low blow. As for who he might get a hold of, I feel like Johnny Swinger's kind of also easily manipulable like that. And I think, I don't know, maybe the Deaners.
That's a possibility.
Seems like he could easily swing them over to his side, but time will tell. Next on the card, we had Moose versus Trey Miguel for the unsanctioned TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Went exactly as expected. Like, I knew Moose was likely going to walk away with that, just because that TNA title is kind of keeping him relevant, but while he's not in the main event picture. Makes me wonder if perhaps this unsanctioned TNA World Heavyweight Championship run was a thing they had planned from the beginning, like we suggested last week, and makes me wonder if it was always meant for Moose and EC3, because afterwards EC3 came in and made off with the title.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely returned and put his stamp on Moose, basically.
Yeah, it seems very much like they've got that unfinished business from EC3's time in Impact.
Yeah, and
he's intent on taking down his past, but what exactly does that mean?
I'm not one for vagueness, to be fair. I need to be told, there and then what's going on. So for me, this, breaking down the past, it'll be all right for 3-4 weeks tops, and if nothing's been set in stone as to what that actually means, then I'm just going to lose interest. Although something that has piqued my interest is that EC3 has joined Ring of Honor, apparently.
Oh, when did that news come out?
I think that was yesterday, was it?
Yeah, I think his deal allows him the flexibility of not only being with Ring of Honor and Impact, but also with New Japan. And that possibility, at least if we're talking rumors and things floating around, I mean, talk about somebody that has said, controlling your own narrative. That is a guy that is going to put himself in a position, and maybe him stealing the title is just a reflection of him just dictating what he's going to do, when he's going to do it, how he's going to do it. I'd be curious to see how he works out in Ring of Honor and New Japan, but he's definitely got the gift of gab. That's one guy that never really had that chance to share his thoughts when he was somewhere else.
He was totally misused, in my opinion, and in WWE. NXT, he was in there for a cup of coffee. He was hardly there for that long to make an impact, so to speak. But he got called up and just got pushed to the side. Sad, really. Absolutely sad. So hopefully he's going to use that to fuel him going forward, which I think it is, looking at him now.
Yep. Sorry,
I was just daydreaming EC3 versus Jon Moxley. Here's the thing I got to bring up, though, about this. Trey Miguel, been that guy who's been coming very close to winning some gold, and then having it snatched away from him. Is he starting to become Jobber to the Stars on Impact? Oh. Is that really what they hoped for the Rascals?
I think it's a bit early to say that yet. If we're saying that again in another 2 months, then he might be stuck in that rut. But I'm hoping not, because the guy is supremely talented. Actually, all the Rascals are supremely talented. And yeah, it just might just be unfortunate booking for him. Maybe he could step up and see Rohit for the X Division title, and it could be a nice program there just to elevate him even more. But yeah, call me again in 2 months and I'll give you a definitive answer.
We had the Good Brothers versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. This is a match that I am actually really excited about. This was a really good match. This is a solid tag team encounter. Ace and Fulton playing like HBK and Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
The little guy who's really technically sound, and a big guy who can just throw down with the best of them. And the way that they were using like cutting the ring in half, keeping Anderson in their corner, working his back, Arn and Tully would be proud. Makes me wonder, though, is that the end of this feud? It seemed pretty definitive, but at the same time, I could see a little bit more of this going forward. I'm into a little bit more of that, especially seeing how well Ace and Fulton work together as a unit. But at the same time, I'm also excited to see Doc and Anderson move on to the tag scene as a whole. However, I think this really is a match that illustrates kind of gives us some shape as to where the Impact tag division is going. And I think that what they're doing is starting a tag division that looks a lot like the tag division, WWF's tag division in the Attitude Era, where you have 3 teams who are supremely talented. Back in the Attitude Era, that would have been the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. But in Impact now, we have the Good Brothers, we have MCMG, and we have the North. And I think if you have three really good tag teams who could be champions at any given point, that's where you can start building a tag division around them, because you'll remember in the Attitude era we also had like DX in the mix. We had Too Cool. We had the Acolytes. All of them could maybe pick up a win over the champions on a Raw or a SmackDown, but really just there to keep things fresh and exciting. And I think even having Ace and Fulton join the tag division as a unit would be a net positive.
That's a great shout. That's very very astute. But yeah, you're bang on the money. They needed a tag division. I mean, the North were tag champs for just over a year. Does that say that there was no credible contenders, or were they that damn good? It doesn't really matter, because right now you have got a division, as you said, with three top tier teams who could elevate another three teams underneath them or any more. It's a great move by Scott D'Amore and everyone else there. Again, I'm biased because I love the Good Brothers and I always will. It was a bloody good match. Really, really good match. I can't say much more than that. It was just really good.
And then in the main event, absolutely deserving of the main event in my opinion, Motor City Machine Guns defeated the North for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. I think that even without the shock of MCMG showing up, this was better than their first encounter.
Yeah. They had time. They had the energy levels were through the roof. Considering there was no crowd, it felt like they were, performing in front of 10,000 people rather than 10. It was a damn good match. And again, as you said, well deserved of a main event spot. It was tag team wrestling done right, done damn near perfect in my opinion.
Like I said, it's still, there are lots of differences from that earlier tag match, but still giving us those tag team fundamentals. The North doing very much the same thing Ace and Fulton were doing in the earlier match.
Yeah, but
just absolutely destroying them with backbreakers. But yeah, this is that was a really good match. I'd like to see more of it going forward. But at the same time, I also want to see Gallows and Anderson get involved.
See, this, as you said, this is where things are going to get interesting, because you want to see more of the North and MCMG, but then you want to see MCMG against the Good Brothers. You want to see the Good Brothers against the North. It's the whole mix that they've got going on right now has made that tag division, well worth watching.
Yeah, and Impact in their triple threat matches are usually blowaway matches, and we could easily see a triple threat tag team match between these three, maybe even a TLC match, though.
Ooh,
not quite what in Impact's wheelhouse.
Oh, they could throw something together. All three, it could be hair versus hair match, and I'd still buy that triple threat. That would be amazing.
Even though the Good Brothers don't have hair.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. No, Mark's been very quiet. I
was just kind of just listening to you both. That's all. Kylie Ray Valkyrie with Rosemary's the ref. How did that all seem to go down?
The Wrestle House match.
Yes. Was it tight per se to was the Wrestle House match tied per se to Emergence?
Not really. I think Wrestle House is the thing they've been doing, because that's been on Impact Wrestling regularly. Mm-hmm. Not sure how Wrestle House is going to end, but as far as a Wrestle House segment, yeah, it was among the better ones.
Yes, as a segment, it was okay, but the match was just really quick, really quick. Which, to be fair, helped the flow of the card. The match was what it was, really. It was okay. I can't really say much more than that, just because the match itself was pretty short.
Yeah, it was Wrestle House silliness.
And who doesn't love the silliness? I mean, come on. So we've got night 2 of Emergence this Tuesday,
yes.
And I think you've got the card there, haven't you, Pete?
I have the matches that have been announced for night 2. We got Brian Myers versus Willie Mack. I think Willie Mack could use a win after losing the X Division Championship, but it seems like they're bringing Myers in much hotter than they did last time. And again, this is an example of a match that could very much be anyone's.
The only thing I'm worried about that is that I don't want Myers to go down that long losing streak route that he had on at WWE.
Especially because it was one that didn't amount to anything until much later. He was in the triple digits with his losing streak, and even Giant Baba had the decency to give Misawa, was it Misawa or was it Kobashi, the 86 match losing streak? I think it was Kobashi.
Kobashi, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was as well.
I'm going to look like a fool if I got that one wrong.
It's all right. We can edit that out and just put it back in. It's fine.
Yeah, if it's we'll save that for the final cut. We also have Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace in the 30-minute Iron Woman match for the Knockouts Championship.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
We had some thoughts about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I don't want to harp over it again, but I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah, looking forward to the Virtuosa and Jordynne Grace round 2. And we have Eddie Edwards doing the open challenge for the Impact World Championship. No one's been announced. I'd like to think it'd be Eric Young after all the teasing they've done there, but they could be saving that for the next pay-per-view.
That's, to me, that's money. You don't throw that away for free. You need to bring someone of a lesser name than Eric Young, because as you said, that could be a very special match, especially as Eric Young has tapped into his craziness once more, and we all know how Eddie Edwards can get. So crazy versus crazy for the World Championship. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, like you said, it could be Eric Young, but like you said, that's a money match. Equally plausible, maybe Ace Austin. He's not been very happy about what happened at Slammiversary. He could potentially make his presence felt again in this match. And he's one who can comfortably take a lose if he's going to be in the tag division with Madman Fulton.
Yes. Yeah, that makes more sense. Whether or not it happens, we'll find out on Tuesday. And that's Impact Emergence, all done and dusted and in the books. While we let you digest with that information, we have a few things to look forward to this week coming from the site itself, don't we, Mark?
Yes, we do. Very excited about a couple pieces set to come out. One I ended up, I was fortunate enough to write about, seeing as that it is SummerSlam weekend, and we talked about earlier with NXT's Takeover taking place, NXT 30, but we scroll all the way back to the beginning and look at SummerSlam 88. It would be the first SummerSlam we retro view here on the site. This was the day of the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini, for anyone that remembers that whole song, and that's how they were billing the secret weapon that Miss Elizabeth had as the Mega Powers faced the Mega Bucks of Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage against Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase as the main event. Going back and watching it, it was fun. I really, really miss watching Jake the Snake Roberts. But actually, in watching the whole event again, the highlight was really the Rougeaus against the British Bulldogs. That match went 20 minutes and is as good as anything we would have watched today back then. Really, really solid tag team. We were just talking about tag team wrestling. That was a great match. And it went to a draw. And to see the exchanges and the storytelling those guys all put together, fun.
That's something you don't see much anymore nowadays, is it? A draw or a time limit draw? Or...
Yeah.
What happened those days?
Foreign. Seems like a foreign idea. It was also we were talking about the run of the Honky Tonk Man, and Pete was mentioning it earlier. It was also the night that the Ultimate Warrior was the surprise entrant and faced the Honky Tonk Man, winning the title in, I want to say, less than 30 seconds. I think the documented time was 31 to 33. I don't know what the over-under is, but it was fast, really, really fast. So those were some of the key matches that were highlighted, and we go back and welcome it as the WWE Sunday Night Retroview returns this week.
Excellent stuff. And finally, just on the things that we've got coming out this week, we've got very interesting Puresu. I'm sorry, I've just properly brutalized that. Let's just say Japanese wrestling piece coming out from our rivalries. Is that right, Mark?
Yes, we do. We have the Marufuji Kenta rivalries piece that Dylan Hughes, who's a new contributor to the site, has put together painstakingly, not painful, it was actually a labor of love, put together looking at their history. And it took him longer to put it together because there was just so much to go through. It's sitting in our pending, and either Mark or myself will go through and give it the once over and polish it up and make it extra shiny. It'll go out this week. When? Well, you have to stay tuned to when on the site, and that will be available. But if anybody's seen their time together, All Japan, their feud, their matches, outstanding. We'll have videos where readers can go in, click, and actually view for themselves. So we're not just highlighting something that we think is great because we think it's great. We want you to see why it was so wonderful. And now Kenta back with New Japan as part of Bullet Club. It's just as important today as it was years ago when he was having this feud.
Literally about half an hour before we started recording this, I had a sneaky peek and began editing that piece. You know me, I can't wait. I keep saying it's one of the perks of the job, and I was enthralled, absolutely enthralled. The amount of information that Dylan's put on that piece is quite extensive. The videos of the matches highlighted. Yeah, you need to spend some time watching them. They're just A-star, 10 out of 10 matches. Amazing. Absolutely great.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of the few pieces to look forward to, in particular, that's special coming up this week.
And there we go. And that's our things for push this week.
Hey, anyone know if Lesnar was on Raw Underground this week?
I didn't see it. Mark, did you see him?
Nope.
No? Okay, right. Then let's pass on Raw Underground and go straight to SummerSlam this Sunday. The biggest event of the summer and all that razzmatazz is back. It is being held at a kind of empty Amway Arena. Have you seen the pictures of the Thunderdome?
I have seen the pictures of the Thunderdome.
What do you reckon?
Looks vastly different to what I expected.
I'm not sold.
When you said digital audience, I didn't quite know what to expect. It certainly wasn't a wall of screens on the other side of the barricade.
It's that's going to take some getting used to. I was reading earlier. Who was it? Someone said something. It might be Sean Ross Sapp who said that it's all well and good having these screens that are showing these people at home and everything else, but the atmosphere is still going to be dead. So unless they can pipe through some original crowd noise that could, either live or post or something that will go along with the match that you're watching, it's going to look and sound a bit weird.
And also, I think it's weird that WWE would cede that much control over their audience, because if you got people who are just at home on their webcams, who's there to say, don't do anything ridiculous? We could have a bunch of coordinated people hold up one really big sign or something like that.
Oh, that's just totally changed SummerSlam for me. I might not even watch the matches. I might just watch the fans on the outside. Oh, my word.
Well, I'm hoping we don't get a pipe in of like an inappropriate video being shot like through somebody's window. And what are they? That's wrestling, but that's not what I was expecting to happen on a live event.
I mean, of course, there's probably production people who can shut off the feed whenever, but that's just opening up a can of worms that I don't think anyone's quite prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to be quick on those buttons.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So
I'm just wondering though, what are the plans for this moving forward? Does WWE have plans beyond Thunderdome?
Hey.
We've heard that a few times, and it doesn't get old hearing that.
I just thought I should get the official one on the podcast.
There you go. Trademark it, my friend.
If you don't know what we're on about, Go back and look at some old Mad Max films, folks. But yes, we're recording this before SmackDown airs, so it's going to start tonight. Apparently, Vince is going to be the first person out, obviously, because it's Vince and it's his baby. He's going to come out and address the universe and such like. So we'll get a good idea of how SummerSlam should look with after SmackDown. The card, obviously, as I've just said, SmackDown's still got to air, so there may be 1 or 2 matches to be added. Have you seen the cards, folks? Is there anything there that tickles your fancy?
Well, I guess the 2 premier ones being what happens with Braun and The Fiend and Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss in that one, and then I guess Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to think that, depending on which side you're pulling on, it's all signs are pulling to Randy Orton having such control that him not winning the title with all this seems almost like a letdown. I mean, if everybody's looking to this being it, heard stories around whether that's Drew not getting his moment in front of a live crowd, and the idea is that he loses the title and then wins it when the crowds are back, is still that he's this perennial fan favorite is one idea, but I don't know. I mean, is in 2020, are we just as convinced of having a 14-time champion in front of no crowds? Does that mean something to everybody else, or does anybody like the idea of a switch and that Braun is now the heel potentially, and that Bray is the face?
Sorry, is Braun technically a heel now? But I like this possible inverted commas double switch they've done. Bray was never going to be a heel, to be fair. The Fiend is so over. When he turned up as a Fiend a year ago, it was over. It's still over now. So turning Braun heel, if by shaving your head is making you heel, then I've been a heel for about 4 years. I don't know. I want to see Bray with the title because I think he shouldn't have lost it in the first place. Braun doesn't need the title. He's a big guy. So I know it's old style booking and big guys don't need titles. He doesn't. He honestly doesn't. I'm just happy he beat Goldberg, to be fair.
Yeah, like you said with this double turn, I think they really cementing that working against the Fiend changes you. Mm-hmm. And I think to keep that going forward is going to be, or to have that be how Bray wins and what Bray does in this era moving forward is going to be a great boon to his character and how things are going to work in the absence of characters like The Undertaker and Kane, those real kind of supernatural characters.
So Bray would be not a replacement as such, but he would be a placeholder.
Yeah, he'd fill that niche.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that actually. Mark?
It's a thing that he's kind of been earmarked for ever since he was the Eater of Worlds.
I don't know who it was that said that the Undertaker character, I think it might have even been Seth Rollins, so you take that with a grain of salt. But if the Undertaker character would really work in today's day and age, I don't know if you could have, that's huge shoes to try to fill, and having somebody with the outstanding history and the build and the audience response, and he would have to be just as much committed to reinventing himself and living the gimmick. In watching Last Ride, to see 25 years to be that character, to be all that it is, The Undertaker, that's a lot to expect out of Bray Wyatt, whose father was a really credible wrestler and grandfather was a star wrestler too, to try and live this gimmick and continue to keep it fresh and new and interesting, because the character itself was complex and there's different layers to it. How they do that, I don't know. I think that's a lot of pressure to expect on anybody, especially today with an audience that needs gratification. We all come from a place where we can appreciate a slower burn, but I don't know if everybody will resonate to that long-standing burn of a character. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But have you seen some of the interviews that Bray Wyatt's done in character?
Yes, I've seen him host a weather report for a local TV station when he was still the cult leader of the Wyatt family, and he did not break character once, and he was on screen for about 8 minutes. He did not break character once. He freaked everyone out, to be fair.
I heard legend that he went to jury duty in character.
No way.
That's awesome. Oh man, that man is guilty. And just everyone goes, yeah, okay.
He's guilty of the sins of this world. So that's my best impression of cult leader Bray Wyatt.
But he's definitely got the chops for it. I mean, the guy's been living what's the Fiend, the third kind of gimmick? The cult leader, the Reacher of Worlds, and the Fiend.
Yeah.
And then you've obviously got the Funhouse as well. So, he's got the chops for it. He could definitely do it. Whether or not he can be given as much free reign as what Taker was is a different story. Obviously, Taker earned that. Personally, I think Bray's earned it, but my opinion counts for nothing in the end of the day.
Other matches. You mentioned Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. I saw a thing that Randy Orton, did he tweet it or did he put it on Instagram? He said something earlier today to the effect of he wanted his last match to be against Cena at WrestleMania, to be the one to break Ric Flair's 16 world title record.
I saw that.
Between the both of them. So they'll both be tied at 16.
Yes, they would both be tied at 16. And he said Cena would be heel.
Cena would be heel?
Yes.
Wow.
Which maybe that's stretching it a little bit. Maybe that's the hint that Randy wasn't being too serious.
I think he's been playing TikTok too much.
Yeah, but that is certainly an interesting way for that career to end. Could this be that step towards that match? Because this win, if he wins on Sunday, that would put him at 14,
I think.
Yeah,
tied with I think Triple H, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody at 15, I don't believe. Well, WWE related, I'm sure. I mean,
there's definitely people who have had
right, and Flair's record is unofficially. I think they went with 16, but even he said it's like 21 or something. So, but at the same time, I don't think there's anyone WWE related that's won it 15 times or considered that at least has been billed. I'm sure if you can Google it, you'll find it. But
Mark, you said something about Drew winning the title in an empty arena.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to obviously have that moment with the fans. I'm under the impression that Randy could do this on Sunday, and then there will be an event down the line where Drew will get that win, so he'll become a 2-time champ in front of the fans.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I know Paul Heyman was a pretty big advocate for Drew, and he spoke very highly about him having this. But now, if Paul isn't there, I mean, it's kind of hard to be where Drew is. He's worked so hard. I don't know. Bad ratings can't be a reflection of him, and no crowds can't be. It's not a reflection of him, definitely. This
is where this bad ratings against the title holder just surely has got to fly out the window. We're in a sodding pandemic.
Yeah.
If the rules change, you can't hold that against Drew. You can't hold it against Bray. Against Braun. It's just one of those things. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that all that is complete and utter BS. That there is some level of compassion over there in Titan Towers, but I just think it's harsh.
Truly, to go for Randy just because he's at least a bankable name, whereas I think the average mainstream viewer probably, or the average mainstream audience member, wouldn't really know much about Drew McIntyre. apart from maybe that he was in WWE before.
Yeah, it's a shame if it does happen, but then, as I said, and as has been rumored, Drew could get his WrestleMania moment again in front of a live crowd. Moving on, could there be a possibility that Asuka could become Asuka 2-belt?
Not against Bayley and Sasha Banks.
It's a shame, but I think you're right.
Yeah, just because I think Bayley and Sasha as a duo are too much to contend with, and especially if they're going to be accompanying each other to the ring for these matches. Now, if it were a triple threat match, I think maybe that would be a different story.
So then we go back to, is Asuka being pooped on from a great height once again? Because you had that major run in NXT brought up, and you know what happened there, and she's getting some steam and momentum behind her now, and she could walk away empty-handed, and what does that do to her?
Yeah, we end up with Asuka very much in the same position she was after being called up and winning the Women's Royal Rumble. That's just any
thoughts, Mark?
I would like her to win it. Yeah, Asuka 2 belts, maybe Asuka 1 belt, and we see dissension between Bayley and Sasha, and then that leads to animosity between the two of them. I'd be fine with that. But Asuka winning something, walking out, and the other being blamed for that title loss, I don't have a problem with that. I think that definitely sets us up for something special.
So out of Sasha and Bayley, who do you reckon would drop?
I think Sasha drops. Because it seems like they can call themselves the golden role models, but if I have to look at the two of them, I just feel like Bayley has this edge in every department. She's the one talked about, and Sasha's just kind of there. But if I had to pick one, I think Bayley abandoned Sasha in a moment of she needs help, and Sasha retains, Bayley retains, but doesn't reciprocate that favor, and could ultimately cost her the title. Could cost Sasha. If that makes sense.
It's totally amazing that a year ago, or whenever, a bit more maybe, when Bayley turned heel, everyone was like, "Oh my god, no, what's happened? Oh my god, what have you done to your hair? Oh, what's the makeup about? Oh, this is terrible." You fast forward a year, she has bought into that gimmick so much, and she is amazing, and she is despicable and heelish, which is what everyone thought she couldn't and wouldn't do, and it's just amazing, really is.
Yeah, Bayley's heel turn has gone over much better than lots of other heel turns for people who should otherwise have been career faces. I'm thinking Sting, I'm thinking Sami Zayn, because whenever you see those people who you just can't in your right mind boo. Another great example, Ricky Steamboat. Nobody in their right mind is gonna boo Ricky Steamboat. And I think when you see those kinds of people turn heel in WWE, it just kind of reeks of like desperation in the writing staff. But to see Bayley go from perennial babyface to this driven, charismatic heel has been quite the surprise.
Yeah, it's been one of the highlights of the year. To be fair, the way she's grown into the role it's been great. Okay, guys, is Dominic Mysterio on a hiding to nothing?
If I remember correctly, he was originally brought in as part of the creative staff, wasn't he?
Dominic?
Yes.
I hadn't heard that. He might well have done. It might have passed me by, but that's interesting.
So they brought in somebody that doesn't have experience as part of the creative? I mean, they did that with Freddie Prinze Jr., right? So I guess
true.
Sorry.
True.
They did that with Dewey Foley as well, didn't they? They brought Dewey on as creative as well.
That's probably where I'm getting confused.
I don't know.
Dominic Mysterio on a hiding to nothing, probably, because I don't think I don't think they're going to let Seth take a loss to someone as like you say, as inexperienced as Dominic Mysterio.
So is Dominic literally gonna take a hiding because he can't win? Is he gonna take the hiding to get over? I don't know. Could bring back his old man with an eye patch.
I don't think Dominic Mysterio is going to be starting as a wrestler at this top level.
Never say never. He's got merch now. Have you seen that?
He does.
He's got merch.
Oh dear.
So wait a minute. So he's further ahead in his training and development than say Simone Johnson. Is that what we're saying here?
Oh, personally, I'm not saying that because I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But he's on a major pay-per-view, and Simone, I don't think he's even been on an NXT show yet.
No, not yet. Yeah, that's a really tough question to answer without knowing what's going on behind the scenes. But we know that he's kind of been involved since last year, hasn't he?
Well, you could go back even further. He's been 15 years ago.
He's been involved regularly since last year.
Yes, he's popped on and off TV for the last year or so with his dad Ray. But he's been training for, I think, quite a few years. But I don't know. Ray must have trained him, but I think he's been training with other people and at the PC.
I mean, he even showed up in episodes of Lucha Underground years ago.
Did he?
He did, yeah. So you know that he's got some long-standing being tied to the business and that, but
okay. I actually have Dominic Mysterio's Wikipedia page open here.
There you go.
He's been training with Jay Lethal, Conan, Lance Storm, and Rey Mysterio.
Wow,
major names.
That's kind of those are names that are kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just put a new spin on it for me. So he could be, even if he's going to walk over the loss tomorrow, but he could be a coming out party for him tomorrow if he's
very much
with those trainers.
It'd be interesting to see how he fares against someone who's got a lot of the same ingredients in him. Seth Rollins does.
For sure. So we're all agreed that Dominic's going to have a great showing, but ultimately get beaten black and blue even, and possibly choked out with his new merch.
Potentially, yeah.
What does this do with the likes of Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo? Was this just kind of collateral damage, having these guys kind of involved but not really involved? But do they make their presence felt?
It's a street fight. Anything goes.
Yeah.
We've got Seth Rollins. He's got Murphy in his corner. I don't know about Ikemen Razor. Have they been on TV lately?
Think of injuries of what caused one of them to be out. It's kind of one of those cases where when the Revival were hurt, if one was hurt, they were both off.
Yeah. I see.
Well, we also haven't seen the third member of the Disciples.
Yeah, Austin Theory.
So talk about something that
there was a rumor that he'd done a few naughty things. I can't remember what it was, but I did see something.
He did.
Yeah, so he might be off for a while.
So we have the potential of maybe seeing new disciples of the Monday Night Messiah.
Could Dominic turn and become a disciple himself? You never know.
As didn't he for a little bit during the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero feud?
Yeah, he did. Well, he didn't know who his dad was, bless him. So
yeah, true. Things happen when you're confused like that.
Easily influenced.
Oh, that sounds like me. So we have the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line as well, where we have one of my guilty pleasures at the moment on Raw, when I do watch it live, that is Andrade and Angel Garza against the Street Profits. Where are we going, guys?
Oh, you're going to have the smoke.
Oh, really?
Well, there was the whole poisoning and now seeking retribution, and there's always this tension that lingers with Andrade and Angel Garza, and I just don't know if that trio can keep it together long enough. Whereas, you've got Montez trying to come back from being poisoned, and that's the story, at least that you're being led into. I don't know. I have a hard time not seeing them win it, but differently.
Likewise, that's like poisoning someone is that step over the line where that guy's got to lose. It's like when the Freebirds blinded Junkyard Dog. Michael Hayes absolutely had to lose that next match because there was just so much heat because he overstepped a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the same thing that we could see with Dominic and Seth. Maybe Dominic gets revenge for his old man, but I think that's a thing we definitely need to see in this tag team championship match.
I'm the opposite way. Like I said, Andrade and Angel Garza are my guilty pleasure. The dynamic between them is fantastic. They don't trust each other. They don't like each other. They're teaming up. They're gonna take on the tag champs. They're gonna sneakily win it. Could Montez still be suffering from the poisoning? It's Montez, when he takes the hot tag, maybe he just runs out of steam earlier than usual, and it's the variables on it are great. So it's up for everyone really. But I'm going with Angel and Andrade.
Nice.
Then we have the United States Championship, where Apollo Crews, the champion, takes on MVP. So where are we going, guys?
Without Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, I don't think MVP will be in the right headspace. And I think Apollo Crews could easily send him packing.
And you, Mark?
For every reason that makes sense for what Pete said, is the exact opposite of why I don't think MVP will win it. Every reason that, and it's completely logical for why he shouldn't win it. But people had maybe forgotten Cedric Alexander was left behind in a list this past week. He was kind of kicked to the curb. You're feeling jaded. You're feeling bitter. You're feeling not included. Whether there's been this outcry for him to turn heel and get involved. They just said that the Hurt Business, the rest of the Hurt Business, aren't allowed at ringside. They never said anybody else that couldn't be easily tied or was a friend, couldn't cost. Maybe Cedric Alexander is the one that comes in and aids MVP, and we have MVP as the champ.
That's interesting. I like that. As you said, it was just the Hurt Business and not allowed at ringside. So, maybe in the style of Ted DiBiase, he's gone out and booked someone else to be as heavy. Yeah, it could happen. I'm going to go with MVP just because Cruz has had the MVP's number for the past 3-4 weeks, and WWE booking, there's going to be a switch at some point. So why not do it now?
Yeah.
And that leaves us with quite possibly the most news story match of the card: Sonya Deville against Mandy Rose, hair versus hair. I take it we all know what happened earlier this week.
I don't.
You don't? Okay, so I don't know what day it was. This is obviously recording Friday, but earlier this week, Sonya Deville had the police called to her address because
yes, had the police called the police as someone tried to kidnap her from her home.
And Mandy Rose was there as well.
Yeah, she's the friend that she fled with.
Yeah, so they fled the house together while this complete a-hole got arrested and tasered and probably a swift kicking as well. See, yeah, that happened this week. So hopefully both women are okay. I'm sure they are. They're professional enough that they'll put on a great match this Sunday. This has been a feud that really didn't catch fire until, for me anyway, until Sonya's amazing promo. Where are you guys going on this?
Mark, take the wheel on this one. I got thoughts to...
Okay. Right now, even if she loses, which is what I'm thinking, right now they're really trying to, it seems like they're giving all this motivation towards Mandy Rose. She's got the retribution. Her hair was cut. I've read things about Sonya wanting to cut her hair anyway. So if what I read has anything to do with it, even losing, Sonya has still come out looking like a champ. So I'm gonna call for Rose to win, but Sonya losing her hair is just another sign of just character growth, and losing your hair doesn't make you lose. So yeah, so I'm pulling for. I'm thinking that Mandy Rose is gonna win, and Sonya's gonna have a new look.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. There's Mandy's got it. She can be the next big face behind Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, and the hair, the look, it's part of it. I can't see her losing because of that. And as you said, Sonya can take the loss, can take the haircut, because as you know, a new side to her character and everything else. It's yeah. I just want. In all honesty, I just want a great match. I just want to see both women want to tear each other apart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm with you there for just wanting to see a great match. Yeah, I'm also in with Sonya taking the loss, because I think like you said, she can come out looking like $1 million because she's got the fighting experience behind her. Part of me wonders how the potential of Mandy losing would factor into that storyline between her and Otis. Like, could something happen with their romance should she lose?
Mm.
So if Mandy lost and lost her hair, that would turn Otis off,
or turn Otis against somebody, or
yeah,
or even just kind of like have the whole Beauty and the Beast angle turned around. Where, you know,
that's good.
Where Otis is kind of rebuffing this lady who is absolutely gorgeous, but just has a shaved head.
Yeah,
it's hair; it'll grow back.
It's funny though. If anybody shouldn't be judgmental, is the guy that becomes judgmental.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's really clever.
That's good. Yeah. It's, to be fair, Pete, it's so clever that it's probably gone over the heads of every single creative person on WWE. Which sucks, because it's a really good story and a really good angle. But do you know what? I want that. That's good. I'd like that. Really would.
Yeah, nice little combi angle.
So there we have it. That's as of the time of recording, which is before SmackDown. That's all we've got on the card. Can we see anything? Any possible matches? I'm not going to talk about kickoff matches or anything like that, but anything that's added to the main card, do you reckon, coming out of SmackDown tonight?
Maybe the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, it's got to be. I mean, I think that's the only title that's not being defended just yet.
Yeah, it's that and the SmackDown Tag Team Championship that's not
team.
represented.
And the 24/7.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting that thing even exists.
It's always defended.
Yeah, so does creative.
I was saying to somebody earlier, I'd love to see him defend the title in a 7-Eleven and be stuck there for 24/7 and see what happens. And they just keep a camera, like a surveillance camera. See, like, it would kind of be kind of the homage of the Booker T Stone Cold fight that happened only they're confined, and that's a match in a 7-Eleven. You see, like, shelves overturned, hot dogs tossed, all of that. And then he's like, you really defended the 7-Eleven 24/7 title.
Oh man, see, we should so be on the creative, which is would make things so much easier and so much better for them. Oh dear, but yeah, the IC SmackDown Tag Team, that's got to be on this. I mean, but I don't know where they're going as of tonight, because everything's still up in the air. I mean, it's what time is it? It's 9:15 my time, which means that, you know, Vince has still probably rewritten the script about 17 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he'll write them 17 more times before Sunday.
There we go, folks. That's our SummerSlam preview all done and dusted. We hope you enjoy. Once again, we hope that we're right and we look absolutely awesome and mega brains. That's the end of the show. Pete, where can people find you, mate?
You can find me on Twitter at Pete Probably, though you can also send carrier pigeons. Actually, don't send carrier pigeons. I have cats.
And yourself, Mark?
You can reach us at on Instagram at the Pro Wrestling Post, on Twitter at either at the Marc Madison or at Pro Wrestling PST. Please connect with us, engage with us, and you can find us on Facebook. We just hit a milestone. We're over 2,000 likes for our Facebook page. We're pretty excited about that, and we continue to grow. It's pretty exponential. And you'll find some of our pieces there too, kind of spread out sporadically.
Yeah, it's been a great year so far for us. I know wrestling's taken a major hit, but I think because of that hit, a lot of people have been looking for wrestling in different ways, and we seem to have picked up a fair few new people to read our stuff and hear our dulcet tones. I'm Mark Blake. You can catch me on Twitter at Mark Blake PWP. This is the third week of recording, and I still haven't heard if anyone has DM'd Pete about his Twitter handle. I may have to do a bounty on this soon, where I have to put something up for as a prize, so somebody can ask him about this story. But we shall cross that bridge later on. So until then, we shall see you next week. Many thanks, and bye-bye.